Hello everyone, this is the first of 3 boxes of CDs I received from my friend Michael. It contains about 60 CDs, most of them Elton CDs, some of them Elton-related, so various artist releases, soundtracks, tribute albums, that sort of thing. There were 2 further boxes, the unboxing videos for which I'll show very soon as they're companions to this first one. 2 points I want to make quickly. First, I shot these unboxing videos over a month ago before I made the video tour of my Elton CD collection. So you may have seen the spines of some of these before, but just the spines. I didn't discuss them in that video. The other point is I didn't intend to make these unboxing videos for my channel. I actually filmed them originally just for my own use and cataloging. So when I hold discs up to for the camera to see, I don't hold them still for very long. So if you want to get a better shot, longer shot of any of them, just hit the pause button. Okay, first one. Elton for Gianni. This is an unauthorized release from 1996, a bootleg, as some call it, on the Kiss label, and it comprises songs and instrumental music Elton recorded exclusively for Gianni Versace fashion shows in the 1990s. This CD is very hard to find. I've always wanted a copy. I didn't have one before, so thank you, Michael. This is a complete surprise. So we're off to a good start already. Okay, Dick James Demos Volume 1, bootleg on the Italian label Yellow Dog Records, released in 1993. I think I said that already. And these are, basically this is all the material that came out on the Jewel Box collection. And there's nothing on this Volume 1 disc anyway that was not included on Jewel Box. Just get the Jewel Box compilation. It sounds so much better. This is Volume 2, also in its original Digipack packaging, Dick James Demos, and on Yellow Dog. A couple of things on here that I think that didn't make it to the Jewel Box compilation, but actually everything on there is on Jewel Box, come to think of it. And those are great songs. I love them. But get them on Jewel Box. Next, Genius Loves Company. I think this is from 2004. It's released just a few months after Ray Charles's death. It's a kind of duets album. It features duet versions of various songs. Elton and Ray Charles do a duet version of Sorry Seems to be the Hardest Word. I didn't have a copy of that already, so I'm glad to have one now. This is the first of many CD singles inside this box. It's a US copy of Someday Out of the Blue from the year 2000 with Chel Dorado as a bonus track. Chel Dorado was on the original soundtrack album. It's a Hans Zimmer instrumental. Someday Out of the Blue. Great song. It's not Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding, but I think as far as a radio hit goes, it was pretty good. And it was a bit of a minor radio hit here in Canada, but now seems to have been forgotten. 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Who doesn't love that movie? Well, if you watch the movie, you'll hear part of Elton's cover of the Gershwin Standard But Not For Me, which was included in full on the movie soundtrack. And that disc also features Elton's version of Chapel of Love and even his original 1972 Crocodile Rock. So 3 Elton cuts on that one. Next is B.B. King and Friends 80, which was a collaboration or duets kind of album that King did with other performers in celebration of his 80th birthday in 2005. And Elton appears on the disc's playout track, Rock This House. Great design, packaging design for this one, I think. West Coast, all right. One of my all-time favorite Elton John albums, and this is a U.S. copy of the album. My first. I have CD copies from elsewhere. I have a Canadian copy, a deluxe 2 CD edition from Europe. This doesn't have its original white inner tray, but that's no problem. I can get another one very easily. What's next here? A recent release, the 2022 Regimental Sergeant Zippo album on CD, including the complete album in both mono and stereo. This is still the only widely available version of the Zippo album in mono. It was released in mono on vinyl only in 2021, but that was, of course, the very exclusive Record Store Day 2021 release. Elton John's Christmas Party, another one that I didn't have before. This is a various artist release from 2000. Universal put it out in 2005. It includes holiday-themed tracks from all sorts of bands and artists. Elton appears on only 2. His original 1973 Step Into Christmas, plus the CD's closing track, Calling It Christmas, which Elton recorded with Joss Stone, originally just for this package, but it's since been re-released elsewhere. It's nice to have a copy of this one finally. Duets. Duets from 1993, not my favorite Elton John album, but this is my first American CD copy, so it'll be nice to have alongside the Canadian and European CD copies I have already. I gotta admit, I really like the design of the disc in this one. Matt, show us the disc, please. There we go. I like that. The two chairs, I thought that looked sharp. And there are a couple really good songs on there. It's just as an album, it's never really stood out to me. And then there's this, Victim of Love. It's impossible to mention Victim of Love without rolling your eyes. But the truth is, I do like it more than, well, I ever liked duets. I'll admit that. And this is my second US MCA CD copy. This copy is not quite as old as my other copy. That other copy's disc is a full silver disc, whereas this copy's disc has a clear hub and was pressed by US JVC. This is the 2004 remixed EP. I remember when this came out. I don't think any of its tracks were exclusive at the time, but some were certainly difficult to find. It was nice to have another copy of Greg Penny's acoustic remix of Candle in the Wind and the 1992 Bruce Forrest remix of Song for Guy, which is incredible. Sort of mashes up Song for Guy and Man Man Across the Water, which is just fantastic. This is a bootleg of BBC stuff. It has Elton and the band doing tracks from the about-to-be-released West Coast album. I love having just about anything from this era of Elton's catalog. Basically from West Coast to Captain the Kid, Elton wasn't so interested in having hits necessarily. He had them, but I don't think he was so interested. He wanted to make albums, again, that sounded like his really early albums. So this is kind of back to basics period. And those three albums, West Coast, Peachtree Road, Captain the Kid, they really hit the bullseye in my opinion. Just fantastic stuff. And this BBC live performance is, I've played it once, it's good. Fantastic stuff. This is the UK Rocket. Well, it's just the Rocket. It was sold in the UK and mainland Europe at least. I Don't Want to Go On With You Like That CD single. And it contains that glorious Shep Pettibone remix. I was never really crazy about this song, but that Shep Pettibone remix is just to die for. I actually already had a copy of this, but it's nice to have two now. I just love the packaging design. Sometimes I think maybe the cover of this single should have been the cover of the album. Anyway, A Rope Around a Fool's on there too, which isn't the greatest non-LPB side, but Rocky 5. Say goodbye to Rocky 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'll never make it as a singer. Measure of a Man was the theme song. Measure of the Man, performed by Elton John, written by Alan Menken, Elton John, and Tim Rice. And I'm sorry to say, in my opinion, is a paralyzing bore of a song. I sat through the entire movie in the theater, 2 hours of Sylvester Stallone, naked and sweaty and punching people, just to hear that song during the credit crawl. And man, was I disappointed. What's next? Matt, come on, pick another one. Let's go, buddy. That one? Okay. All right, yeah. Some CD singles of Made in England. Both of them, I can tell they're American copies. They have the rainbow block on their spines, which I think was from the Island label. And this first one I already had. It includes as bonus tracks the 3 John Lennon Madison Square Garden 1974 live tracks, plus a really interesting, really fantastic 10-minute remix of Believe by Scott Hardkiss, which is fantastic. I just love that remix of Believe. The mixes of, later on in this video I'll get another chance to talk about the mixes of those 3 Lennon tracks. They're the same but also different. This is the other Made in England CD single of this pair anyway, and we have some very forgettable remixes of the song Made in England on there, and that's all I have to say about that one. What's next? Okay, I think I'm going to, 20th Century Blues, a tribute album to Noel Coward, the songs of Noel Coward anyway, and this one contains Elton's cover version of the title track, 20th Century Blues. I still haven't played this one yet. Also has a Pet Shop Boys track on it. Love the Pet Shop Boys. I collect their stuff too. Michael Nyman is on here. Is it Neiman or Nyman? Someone tell me. The composer, he's on here too. Didn't he collaborate with he collaborated with the Pet Shop Boys about 10 years ago. Did that song Love is a Bourgeois Construct, which is such a great song. Oh, okay. The Lockdown Sessions. The less said about this one, the better. I'm grateful to Michael that he sent me this backup copy. The original copy I bought when the album came out, I later used as a beverage coaster. Love Cold Heart. Absolutely adore Cold Heart. After that, game over. And whoever designed the cover of that album, I don't know who you think you're fooling. We can all tell that face mask was photoshopped onto Elton for that picture. So what's next? Sleeping in the Past. I think? No? What are you taking, Matt? What is it going to be? I should have edited this better. Here we go. Okay, All That I'm Allowed. EU CD single. I forget if it's version 1 or version 2, but it's one of 2 versions. Comes in a proper sort of standard jewel case. The other one came in a slim style jewel case. Has So Sad the Renegade in a little piece. Non-LP B-sides from the Peachtree Road sessions. And you buy the Peachtree Road singles for the B-sides. They are, in my opinion, and the opinion of many other Elton fans, the best songs from those sessions. I still love the album. It took me a long time to get into the Peachtree Road album. But once you find your way into that album, it's a real treat. It's just a real nice, mellow, sort of country rock album. US MCA CD single for the One from 1992 includes the bonus tracks Suit of Wolves and Fat Boys and Ugly Girls, which was misprinted as Ugly Girls and Fat Boys on this version. I already had a copy. Nice to have a backup. Those 2 bonus tracks were included as bonus tracks on the remastered copy of the One. They sound better on the original CD single. They're less compressed, less loud. They're not particularly great songs, though. This one is super rare. I don't think it sold many copies. If you see one, make sure to get it. I'm just kidding. This is probably a more commonplace disc in used record shops now than We Are the World. But it's, I have another copy. So this was great. This is a bootleg. I forget the label, but it's not a CDR. It's a silver bottom disc bootleg, 2 discs. It's the May 1982 Jump Up tour performance in Paris, France, and it's the whole show. Horny Devil Records, that's the label. Sound quality is great. Sounds like a soundboard recording, and I love this tour. Elton I think he was drinking a lot of coffee. I think that's, he just had a lot of energy. It was coming from somewhere. Must have been caffeine. Can't imagine it was anything else. And they go a little fast. You can see it in the December 82 Hammersmith Christmas performance. They just race through a lot of songs sometimes, but it's not quite as bad in the Paris show. And I still think it's quite good. This is a Polydor copy of Rock of the Westies. It's a BMG Club copy of the Polydor issue. Remember what I said in that last video. When you're collecting Elton John, a Polydor is a Polydor is a Polydor. This was a dupe of one of the 2 UK issues, and I forget which. I actually think, I could be wrong, but I think the Polydor version was a clone of the UK DJM mastered by Nimbus. Actually, I probably got that wrong. Anyway, this is Sleeping with the Past, a very early American compact disc copy. If I remember correctly, it was pressed by Disctronics. I already had an American MCA copy on compact disc of this, which I bought in Boston when I was 15. My first copy had a DIDX number, but it's actually the later copy. That earlier copy takes chronological priority. That's a JVC Japan for US Geffen CD of Leather Jackets. Leather Jackets is not such a bad album. Just kidding. Sorry. No, it's not. The songs aren't bad, and the performance isn't bad. The band sounds good. It's just, I don't know. It's like they recorded it using tin cans and yarn. There's something about the way they recorded that album that no copy of that album on any format ever sounds good. This is an original US MCA copy of Live in Australia. Has the custom spine. Canadian copies never had the custom spine. It is a club copy, but it's identical to the stock issue. And the mastering is identical to the Canadian MCA copies and also identical to the Rocket CD pressed overseas at the same time. I think that's the first Elton John album where all the CD copies across the world, across both labels, were identical. This is Carnival. This is a live Rainforest Foundation concert from 1997. Elton sings Abide With Me. There are actually, I think there are 30 tracks on this CD that they were able to get quite a bit onto one compact disc. Pretty remarkable. 30? What am I smoking? Oh, okay. The last few tracks for some reason are clumped together. I haven't actually played that CD yet. Nice packaging. Nice design. Okay, Two Rooms. I had a Canadian copy already. Happy to have an American copy. The disc design is different. I know that sounds really kind of crazy that I'd prefer a copy merely for the disc design, but in this case I do. I think the disc looks better. In this version, the Canadian is just, it's custom, but it's completely different. Doesn't have the Two Rooms dual face sort of logo on it, but this disc does. Just overall, I think it's just a better copy. I didn't really like this album very much when it came out. There was something about hearing other people do Elton and Bertie's songs. I like the Phil Collins Burn Down the Mission thing, though. This is a bootleg, a pretty well-known bootleg, too. Poplar Creek, Chicago. This is a performance from that location and venue, recorded in, I think, September? It's September 1988, so a few months after Red Strikes Back came out. It's a good performance. I love the Red Strikes Back album, so it's nice to have live versions of some of those songs. The images used in the disc are not period appropriate. They're all kind of early stuff. But anyway, what's this? Love Songs. This is a 1996. This is the American version or North American MCA version of that comp. The British version from a year earlier on Rocket was very different, even though the artwork was almost the same. This is the version that has the what were then two new songs, You Can Make History Young Again and No Valentines, which I actually liked, especially No Valentines. So that's an American copy. That is, of course, the complete Tom Bell sessions. I already had a copy of that. Really can't distinguish between Canadian manufactured MCA copies and American manufactured MCA copies. I really have never come across a copy made in Canada. I think that may well have been a US MCA exclusive, although copies are still sold in Canada and easy to find. They appear to have been made all in the United States. And of course, originally that album was not released overseas, just in North America. A Polydor Caribou Club Edition. I like Caribou enough. I'll just focus on the qualities of this particular issue. I already had a Canadian copy. This is the American copy. And again, a Polydor is a Polydor is a Polydor. There was something wrong with the mastering with this one. It does not appear to be a clone of any other copy I know. And I think there might have been a pre-emphasis issue with that one. This is the 1995 Classic Years edition of 11/17/70. And I know that others don't like this mix. That Gus Dudgeon remixed and resequenced the album and added one previously unreleased track to this version. And I know of a lot of other collectors that don't like it, but I happen to like it a lot. It's not my favorite mix or version of this album, but I think it's better than its reputation. And I do love that mix of 60 Years On that one. This is Reg Dwight's Piano Goes Pop, re-released soon after its initial release under the revised title Chartbusters Go Pop, and this appears to be a transitional copy that has a front booklet that says Chartbusters, and yet the disc and the back inlay cards say Reg Dwight's Piano Goes Pop. I already had a copy of this. It's nice to have an extra one. This is really it's by no means complete or comprehensive, but at 20 tracks, it is the most extensive and complete anthology of Reg Dwight cover sessions available. This is another bootleg, Elton John 1968, Nick Drake sessions and best of DJM demos. I have a number of bootlegs now that have those famous Warlock music / Nick Drake sessions with Elton doing covers of various Warlock music publishing songwriters. And this one is so far the clearest. They all appear to be sourced from those white label 12-inch pressings that were made at the end of the session that were circulated privately. It's really a question of what is the best sounding needle drop, and so far that boot has what I think is the best sounding of the different versions I have. This is a great one. This is a well-known bootleg from the 90s, the Rarities collection. I forget the label. Has a lot of stuff on there. Pause if you want to see all this, if you want to read all the labels. Some of those labels are inaccurate, like Tiny Dancer. That's not a demo version. That's from the Old Grey whistle test performance in 1971. But still, there's a lot of stuff on here that you really can't get on other boots. There's I find a really interesting alternate mix of Cry to Heaven on there. I'm not a big fan of that song, but that alternate mix really kind of changes my feelings a bit, makes the song seem a bit more interesting. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. Polydor, BMG Club copy of the Polydor issue. Basically, it was a clone of, what was the earlier one? One of the earlier ones was the 1985 MCA. The Polydor is a clone. I like it. I think it sounds good. The DJM West German by Polygram, that copy wasn't so great, I think. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is a 1992 MCA reissue of the Fox, and I already had one of those. It's good to have a backup copy. All of the MCA compact disc reissues of Elton's Geffen catalog, which were released around 92, 93 in the United States, and then a little later in Canada on the MCA label. Those were all unique masterings. They did not clone the earlier versions from overseas. Empty Sky, Polydor issue, club copy. That was a dupe of the DJM West German. It's my third favorite mastering of that album on CD. My first and favorite being the Japanese DJM, which is a unique mastering. What's next here? Haven't we already seen that? No. Obviously not, because it's still sealed in the Ziploc bag. Okay, so this is True Love, the 1993 UK CD single. Sold originally with just one disc, otherwise known as Part 1, but you could get a few weeks later Part 2, the second CD single, came out, and that's the way it was done in the UK. You could sort of collect them as sets, which was interesting. CD singles sold very well in the UK, not so much here. Elton John and RuPaul, the less said the better. I love the song Don't Go Breaking My Heart. I don't necessarily mind the version Elton John did with RuPaul for the Duets album, but to release it as a single, that was an interesting move. That's a remix EP, and it's... don't waste your money. Unless you're a completist, don't waste your money. This is an unauthorized release, and it is basically Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, but all live versions from over the years of all the songs, and... the label that made this found a live version for nearly every song on the original Yellow Brick Road album. There are a couple that aren't. There were never live versions of those, so it's not complete, but it's reasonably complete. Earl Scruggs. This is kind of half tribute. I forget what the concept was for this, because Earl Scruggs is actually on a couple of the tracks here. I guess it's maybe half tribute album, half collaboration album, but the opening track is a version of Country Comfort, a new version of Country Comfort that Earl Scruggs and Elton did together. It's not a bad version. I prefer the earlier version, the original version, but that's not a version that many fans know exist. Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. What was that, 1992? I remember when that came out. I remember reading that Elton was doing a theme song, and I remember thinking, Elton's doing soundtracks? This is new. Little did we know what was forthcoming. And the track there is Some Other World. It's not a very long CD, and Some Other World is really the only Elton track on here. I remember finding the CD when I was a kid and thinking, I'm going to have to save my allowance for 4 weeks for just one song. Forget it. So I never bought it. Now I have a copy. This is There and Here, live by request. I haven't played this yet, but if I remember correctly, yeah, it's kind of like the Here and There album, where half the album is in the States, the other half in England, and these are performances from around the time of the West Coast album, so 2001, 2002. And as I said before, I really like collecting stuff from that era. Great disc design. Are You Ready for Love? CD single, 2003. And I remember when this came out. That was a complete surprise, eh? And this one comes with a number of bonus tracks. That is you get a radio edit of the 1979 remix, and you get what is called the full-length version of the 1979 Elton John and Clive Frank's remix of that song, but it's actually not the original full-length 12-inch version. It's about a minute shorter, and dare I say they improved it by cutting a minute out of it. This is live at the Ritz. This was... Sometimes people think this is a bootleg. It's not a bootleg. It's a legitimate release. It was just exclusive to American Target stores. And it's a live album of a show Elton did at the Ritz Hotel in Paris earlier that year, 1998. And it was just Elton and his piano. It's a rather short album, but it's a good album. What did I take here? Okay, this is a bootleg. This is Elton John live at the BBC. Again, more performances from the West Coast era. Performing actually just before that album came out. Recorded on September 9th, 2001. Just 2 days before all hell broke loose. And I have played this. I have played this one since getting it, and it sounds good. What's this? Oh, this is the Elton John Stark Naked bootleg. And what the makers of this bootleg did was they took some early songs that were mixed in wide stereo, and they selected what they felt were the more interesting for each song, which of the two stereo channels was the more interesting. And then they took that channel and spread it across a new stereo mix, and what you get is a very stripped down sounding version of each song, and it's actually really cool. This is a tribute album to Curtis Mayfield from 1994. I'd never heard of this release before, and Elton does the closing track on it, Amen. Well, Elton and the gospel choir, the Sounds of Blackness, they do that. They perform together, and it's good. What did I pick here? Oh, yeah. Rock, Rhythm, and Blues. I think this is from 86, 87. Various artists' album. They're doing early rock and roll standards. Elton opens the album with I'm Ready. And that's a really great version of that. I love it. Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac, she contributed a song to this. I just forget which song. But you may have noticed her picture there on the cover. So if you've never seen a copy of that album before, now you have. This is Sun Records, Good Rockin' Tonight. Okay, so a concept/tribute album of various artists doing early rock standards. And Elton does, point at it, Matt. Where is it? There it is. Elton does a cover of Whole Lot of Shaking Going On. I've been to the Sun Records studio in Memphis. It's an old studio. South Park, Chef Aid. Unfortunately, Cheddar Cheese Girl is not on here. We get instead a song called Wake Up Wendy, which I, for years, mistakenly thought was an outtake from The Big Picture. But it's not. It was a one-off track, I think recorded specifically for this package. It's not a bad song. Is South Park still on? I don't know. I haven't watched television in years. I just watch the internet. It's much more educational. For Our Children. Okay, this was various artists album. Came out, I think, originally 1991. And it's basically pop rock artists performing songs for children. And Elton does an original instrumental piece called The Pacifier, which was recorded during his sessions with Don Was in 1990. All right, one one more. I think maybe one or two more, or just maybe one more. CD single from Made in England. This is a British one. No, we have two more. And this is the first. So Made in England, Can You Feel Love Tonight? And then Your Song and Don't Let the Sun. Those are live performances from the 1994 concert at the Greek Theatre. Yeah, that's definitely a British CD single. I think actually of the two different British CD singles for Made in England, that's CD2. This is CD1, and that's the collector's package. We get the Lennon tracks, just like we got on the American version, only we don't get the 10.5-minute Scott Hardkiss remix of Believe. If you want the Made in England singles, go get the American ones, because that Hardkiss remix of Believe, that is worth it. Open it up. Oh, that's nice. I like that. I forgot about that. Okay, so that's CD single 2 on the left. Or maybe, sorry, no, it's CD1, CD single 1. And then if I want to, I can take the disc from CD single 2 and put it there in the Digipack tray on the right. So yeah, that's, I don't have time to get into it. Many of you watching probably already know, maybe already know, but CD singles in the UK throughout the 90s had that kind of part 1, part 2 thing going on. So that's it. That's it. Thank you for making it through all that. That's it anyway for this box. Michael sent 2 more boxes of CDs. He's sent many things, actually, not just CDs. But for the purposes of making content for the channel, I'm just going to focus on the CDs for now. And again, these were gifted to me on the pay it forward principle, which I will most certainly honor. I used to do that anyway with lots of things. I would give them away rather than sell them to other collectors, just because I wanted to know that they were with someone that would care for them. I've pulled back a little on production schedules for this channel. You may have noticed already. There's a lot going on for me these days outside of my YouTube life, which means I'm doing maybe about 1 or 2 videos a month now. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm just getting started. Please like and subscribe. Both those things help my channel a lot. Thank you as always to those of you that have already subscribed. 2 more unboxing videos to come within the next week or so. And as always, thanks for watching.